JSLH and the JGO fraternity on this Saturday for the JSLH open house. We are going to start in another 2 minutes. There are two people who are expected who have come all the way from Muscat for this open house. So just wait for another 2 minutes and we are going to start. Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. I'm so delighted and happy and excited, I should say super excited to welcome you all for the JSLH Open House, which is a sequel for the academic year 2023. This year, we have named our campus tour event as Ambitious Adventure. I am super excited to welcome you all on behalf of the JSLH and the JGO fraternity. I'm so glad to let you know that we have people not only coming from the Delhi NCR, but other states of the country like Kolkata, West Bengal, Bangalore, Mumbai, and so on and so forth. Very interestingly, we have people coming in from Dubai and Muscat also for this open house. Today, on behalf of all the faculty of JSLH, we would be talking about what is extremely unique about Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. To begin with, I would like to call upon Professor Jayani Banerjee, who is the academic director for the School of Liberal Arts. She would be talking about why it is important for us to take up admissions at Liberal Arts and Humanities School. Moreover, she'll also be talking about she'll also be talking on behalf of the Dean of Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, Professor Kathleen Madrowski. Thereafter, she will talk to you about the curriculum and pedagogy. So please welcome Professor Jayani Banerjee on stage.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. Very nice to see you all and welcome to JGU. We'll spend this morning talking a bit about what studying in JSLH could be like. We hope to have many questions from all of you at the end. I'm there, some of my colleagues are here, and we'll talk about various aspects of studying in JSLH today. So do keep your questions in mind. This sort of a platform is very exciting for us because we like to know the students who join us. We put in a lot of time and energy into our curriculum and working with students in the classroom. So we also welcome an interaction before you join. So I will actually start with a message from our Dean, Professor Kathleen Madrowski. She sends her apologies because she could not come. I'll read out her message, but I'm just wondering whether we have her photo yet. Is it? Okay. So that you have a face to connect to. Of course, if you've been on our website, you've probably seen her photo. I see some of you in uniforms. Are you all from the same school? No, the one she sent me in her email.
My email will not open here.
बस ये इमेज आनी चाहिए, बस ये इमेज आनी चाहिए.
It's okay. She sent a photo from where she is. So I'll just read out on her behalf. Dear students, parents, and teachers, hello from my home in the very cold Southampton, New York. I'm Kathleen Modrowski, Dean of the Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. Sorry, just a second, please. I'm sending a warm welcome to all of you at the JGU campus. I know you will enjoy visiting our very beautiful JGU. You are in excellent hands with Nishi, Upasana, and the admissions staff. You will meet many wonderful individuals, including faculty, students, administrative staff, all of whom have been part of making the university a wonderful place to live, to learn, and to imagine the future. All these people will become your teachers, your friends, and your mentors. Over the past 8 years, I have learned that our students fit in anywhere in India and in the world. This is very important because mobility and change are two of the key concepts that will guide your future. We all have seen that the way we live, communicate, and understand our place as humans on the planet has changed dramatically over the past several decades. What was unimaginable even 25 years ago is now a reality. Advances in technology, environmental sciences, medicine, and astronomy, among others, have altered our understanding of what was previously considered normal. As a student of JSLH, you are encouraged to look deeply at the world around you, in the local community, in the various regions throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia, and in other countries. We encourage you to go out into the world as we encourage you to gain knowledge from experience, from your mentors, and from people you meet beyond the classroom and the university. I'd like to leave you with one idea. It is a request that you pay attention to the world around you. See and experience the world through all your senses. Your classrooms are an exciting place where you can create new knowledge in the company of students and faculty. I look forward to getting to know you and your families. Through the coming years, we will have many opportunities to share our ideas. Until we meet in person, please feel free to write to me with your questions and your ideas. And her email is here on the website. So if you would like to write to Dean Modrowski, and if you have any questions, please feel welcome. Okay. So that was Dean Modrowski. I'll now be talking to you briefly about the JSLH curriculum and pedagogy and what it means really to be in the classroom within JSLH. As you know, in JGU, there are many different schools, and all these different schools, different departments, have a unique approach in their own way. In JSLH, we really pride ourselves in creating what we call a collaborative classroom. So now all of you are at this transition point, moving in from the school to the university. You'll very quickly realize that it's a big jump, it's a big change. The way you learn also changes at the university. For one thing, we assume and we want you to be a lot more independent. In the school, you had a very set curriculum, a set syllabus, textbooks. So one of the things that you will find in JSLH is that almost all the courses don't have a textbook. So we have readings. We expect you to read. And we as teachers are there in the classroom to facilitate your learning, but our learning too. So when I say that we see the classroom as a collaborative space, we really want students to interact with us, to come to us with ideas, to come to us with questions that come up from the readings that we share with you. And believe it or not, in the process, we also learn a great deal, because sometimes all the questions cannot come from our mind, and we welcome those questions. I'll talk first a bit about the program structure. So your batch is coming in at a very an interesting juncture. As you know, a new policy has been put forward by the government of India called the National Education Policy, which has suggested a 4-year undergraduate program. So JGU is transitioning to a 4-year undergraduate program from August 2023. So this will really be your batch. So what changes? Essentially, not much, but one thing that we are very happy about the 4-year program is that in JSLH we place a lot of emphasis on research, on independent work. We want you to read through the courses, of course, but we also want you to read independently. So in our 3-year program, we had a thesis seminar course, which helped you to work on a specific topic of your interest. The 4th year, the introduction of the 4th year has meant that we have now more time to devote to this independent learning. One, of course, has the option to exit the program at 3 years, but the honors degree comes only at the 4th year, and it implies that you specialize in a particular area. So all of you have applied or thinking of applying to a liberal arts program. For many of you, it might be a new term. Do any of you know what liberal arts means? Or do you have an idea of what sort of how is a liberal arts degree different from, let's say, a BA in history or a BA in economics? Any ideas, any thoughts? Okay, so there's no specific combination. So okay, so a broad range of choice. Yes? Yes. Okay, great. Anybody else? Yeah. So I think both these perspectives are useful to understand what liberal arts is. So liberal arts education focuses on an interdisciplinary education and a very broad-based training. As I mentioned earlier, this jump from school to university is quite significant. All of us have gone through it, and we immediately realize that university is different. It does not mean that whatever you have learned in school, you don't continue with that at university, but you learn very differently. You learn to apply that in practicality. So liberal arts education introduces you to a broad range of subjects. So most liberal arts program, including ours, focuses on what we call a foundation program. So the foundation program is really key to introduce students to a range of disciplines. So you may encounter courses, subjects, disciplines, whatever you call it, that you have not studied in school. And that is absolutely fine, because at the foundation level, we start from the assumption that you may not have studied this course previously. But just the presence or the inclusion of different subjects in the curriculum is not enough, right? So we also have to train you to think across different disciplines. What's the connection between history and politics, for example, or between politics and psychology, for example? And helping you make these connections, we've designed a set of what we call interdisciplinary seminars. So you may be looking at liberal arts programs in many different other universities. What is unique about our program is we have this set of interdisciplinary seminars to help you think across these disciplines. So we have in the first semester a very interesting course called ID1, or Interdisciplinary Seminar 1, that Professor Zahir here also teaches, and you can talk to many students about it, and it's called I, Me, and Myself. Is that still the subtitle? Or it has, okay. So it's, it introduces you to a range of readings to help you make sense of your position in the world and around the society. You know, we often think of ourselves as individuals, but we often forget that we are also part of, you know, larger collectives. So that's ID1. ID2 is called Idea of Ideas, and this is really focusing on very critical issues facing the world today. So for example, we talk about gender, or we talk about environmental issues. But we all know that a single disciplinary perspective is not enough to address or understand these issues. So ID2 introduces you to that. ID3 is a course that I teach and which I really enjoy a lot. It's a fieldwork-based course where we work with local government schools and Anganwaris. Anganwaris are these pre-primary health and education centers. And the idea is, you know, in any education, you also learn by being in the field. And while you can go to the field, you also learn just by observing, just as Dean Kathleen mentioned in her introduction and welcome, that we have to learn by observing the world around us. But sometimes this is not a skill that is just there. You have to learn to be in a situation and learn how to observe, learn what to observe, and learn to question what you observe. So the ID3 course is a fieldwork-based course that we have, and that also introduces you to the world around this university. I mean, all of you have come from different places, and I'm sure you were struck by, you know, it's a very different space inside. But the moment you step outside the university walls, it's a very different space as well. Are we that separate, or are we quite connected? You'll find there are many people in the university who come from the nearby villages, towns to work in the university. So again, this course helps you to find and understand these interconnections. So once you've completed the foundation courses, you can choose to focus on one or more areas. Now, as you know, we have, you know, all the established majors from economics, history, sociology, political science, psychology, international business, philosophy, environmental studies. But this, and again, are there any students from the BFA who are applying to the BFA program here? No. Is there anyone who's applying to the BA? Oh, there is? Okay. So I'll talk a bit about the BFA program as well. And BA Sociology? No one. Okay. Anyone applying for our postgraduate diploma here? Not today, right? Okay. So again, both the BFA program and the BA Sociology program, because it's located in the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, take courses from our core BA Honors and in Liberal Arts and Humanities. So our classroom is actually quite mixed with students from the arts degree, also from the sociology degree. But the students who opt for the BALH degree, as we call it, will choose a major in their third semester. And by a major, I mean concentration, a specialization. So we've introduced 3 new majors this time, which we hope will excite you as well. And we did this keeping this fact in mind that, one of you said that liberal arts is really, it's quite interdisciplinary. It helps you make these connections between different disciplines. So we have an option, quite a popular option, of what we call a self-designed major. So you can choose to combine, let's say, international business and psychology. You can choose to combine sociology and history. And this sort of expands the scope. We have introduced 3 interdisciplinary, very specific majors this time, which might be of interest to you as well. One is in the area of digital humanities, and this is really a look at, we all have been, especially the pandemic, and I think your generation, it's not new. I'm not very tech friendly, I have to admit, but I think we can't really do without technology, right? And digital humanities is a field that has emerged not very recently, but it's been around to help us think through how we can use technology in the humanities. Okay, so let's say you are studying history and you decide to use a website, or you collate material. You want to start let's say an online museum about sort of an invisible community, So digital humanities helps you understand how technology can help the humanities. So it's the intersection between humanities and technology. The second new major we have introduced is comparative religions. Over the years, we've seen some students being interested in this area, and this is not just about and it brings together history, political science, literature, sociology, a wide range of disciplines. We've had 2 students who've actually gone to the Harvard Divinity School and the Yale Divinity School to pursue religious studies. And finally, we have marketing, arts, and cultures, which we have decided to combine 2 very popular areas of international business and arts. So I'll leave it at that. I hope this gives you an idea of what our program is about. I'm happy to take questions at the end. So do keep your questions ready. Do I have to talk about? Okay, great. So I think we have a performance now, and Nishi will tell us more about this. More from us a bit later.
Thank you, Professor Jenny. It was indeed great to know about the curriculum and the new majors that we have launched this year. There will be a huge transition in the JSLH curriculum this year, which is introduction of the 4th year and 3 new majors coming in, which are marketing, arts and culture, digital humanities, and our comparative religion studies. Now we have Shruti Jayachandran from our JSLH second year who will be performing a classical dance. And then we have Professor Jenny who will be talking and sharing experience of these students who have gone abroad for the different kind of the international collaborations offered at Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. Thanks, Shruti. Our students of the second and the final year will be back on the campus now. And Shruti, your performance was great. Now let me call upon Professor Zahir to talk more about what is the student life at JSLH looking like. He is a pioneer who does a lot of work on the student mentorship program, and I would like him to speak about that as well. Professor Zahir on the table. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I am no pioneer in anything, but I'm Zahir. I'm a historian by training, and I also happen to be the Associate Dean of Student Affairs. Before I delve into what student affairs really is, I'd like to go back to what Professor Jaini mentioned a little while back about transitioning from school to college. It may appear as a rather straightforward, simplistic, easy enough transition. And in addition to all of the intellectual and educational pedagogical changes that one needs to undergo and very quickly come to terms with, I think what students really struggle with is this increased sense of freedom that you suddenly receive. While Professor Jaini was talking, we noticed that there was a student who, when they wanted to say something, actually stood up, which both Professor Siddhi and I found to be extremely endearing. These are things that we are taught at school. But when we come to college, we're not required to do any of those things. And therefore, there is immediately a rather difficult transition with respect to what to do with this newfound freedom that is a part and parcel of college life. And that is precisely where student affairs comes into play. It is an attempt to try and temper, if not entirely restrain, this newfound freedom that students receive when they come to college. And while I'd like at length to speak about student affairs, I really think that because it is student affairs, it should be the students who should speak about it. And I know that Vibhav and Muskan, who are the president and the vice president of the JSLH Student Council and who'd be following me after this, would have quite a great deal to talk to you about student affairs, and I'm quite confident that they'd say very nice things because they've been sufficiently bribed, and also because they've been threatened. If they say anything which is not nice, they'd fail. But I will nevertheless I will speak about one aspect of student affairs, which is that of the mentoring program. It is something that is unique and specific to JSLH. I had no idea that you guys couldn't hear me. And please don't ask me to repeat all that I've said, but I hope you can still hear me. Yes, no, maybe, great. I'd just like to very quickly speak about the mentoring program. You will have noticed, if you all were watching, that is the kind of video that was playing as we all took our seats, that JGU prides itself over the teacher-student ratio, which is really just 1:9. Within JSLH, the manner in which we ensure that that happens is by having each and every student be assigned an individual faculty member. So when students join JSLH, we send them an Excel sheet which has a list of questions that allows us to then narrow down on the interests that the students may have, and then club them along with certain faculty members who we think would be best able to guide them depending on those interests. Those interests, of course, do not necessarily always have to be academic. For example, I'm a historian by training, and I'd love to have students, and I'd love to mentor students who also happen to have an interest in history. But I also am a huge fan of classical rock music and Formula One and cricket. So we try and see whether there is a student that fits all of these different categories and then assign them a faculty member who also shares those same interests. The idea is then to try and build a kind of a relationship which transcends just mere academics. It is only when we have a commonality of interests that we then be able to talk about a whole range of things. So if at all you do decide to apply, and if you do get in, you would receive a mail likely from me, which would have a list of questions which you should very carefully think about before attempting and answering, which will then help us assign you certain faculty members. And just one final point about the student affairs. Like I mentioned, there's a great deal of freedom that you would enjoy when you enter college. But there is also a need to try and temper that freedom. And like Spider-Man's already told us, with great freedom comes great responsibility. So parts of channelizing that sense of responsibility are what are called the student council elections. So again, Vibhav and Muskan, who are, like I mentioned, president and vice president both, they have got here through a very rigorous and keenly contested elections in which each and every JSLH student casts their vote, exercises their franchise. It is again a step towards trying to make us not just into better citizens, but also more responsible individuals, to be able to realize who our representatives are and to participate in the democratic ethos that our school prides itself on. With that, I will stop because, like I said, I'm sure Vibhav and Muskan have other things to share about. If there are questions, however, I'll be happy to take them at the end of the session. Thanks.
Okay, I won't use the mic. Am I audible this way? Okay, hi everyone. I'm Muskan. I am the Student Council President for JSLH for this year. And I'm here to talk about the cultural life, the student life here at JSLH. But before that, thank you so much, Professor Jani and Professor Sharif, for your address, because I think they clearly summarize the kind of academics, the kind of legacy that JSLH has. And yeah, I just wanted to appreciate that. So we all know that the kind of courses we have, the kind of majors we have, everything. But all right. So yeah, the academics is pretty sorted, pretty clear. But what about the time that you are not in a classroom? What to do then? So I'm just going to briefly talk about the different cultural engagement programs that we have here, not just at JSLH, but JGU-wide, and basically how you can indulge in recreational activities and what all is available. So, okay. Starting from, we have over 80 clubs and societies JGU-wide. Special mention to our very own JSLH History Society, Tariq, which was founded and formed just last semester. So, thank you. Okay. Apart from that, we have a global library with over 70,000, more than 70,000 resources that you can access physically, and there are a huge number of variety of online resources as well. So, as Professor Jayani mentioned, JSLH is very, very focused on research, and you get to explore, you get to learn, you get to look at various works and you refer to different readings and everything, and you bring something new to the classroom while you do that. So that is something. Then apart from that, talking about sports and student recreation, we have a common room in each one of the student housing, which has things like pool table, chess, carom, anything you can imagine. And then we have different forms of sports. We have like over 6 badminton courts and tennis courts and football field, cricket field, everything which would be shown to you during the campus tour as well. Apart from that, I would want to throw a special highlight to the JGU events. We have 2 annual events, Magnus and Biswamil, which happen. Magnus is going to happen in this fall, in the spring semester, and Biswamil happens in the fall semester. Both of them they basically are the life of JGU, and you can see vibrant colors all over the campus during those events. Apart from that, JSLH has its very own events committee and social media committee and different student-led committees, which make sure that you don't get bored over here. There's always an event plan. There's always some or the other musical event, cultural event, which focuses on integrating different cultural backgrounds and getting together different individuals to celebrate and to have a joyous moment. So rest assured, you will not at all feel like you're at a very strange place over here, because at the end of it, like I'm in my 3rd year right now, I just call it my home over here, even though I haven't been here physically for a period of 3 years because of COVID, yes. But yes, I still call it my home, and I hope that once you get in and you experience the life over here at JSLH and JGU, even you'll come to identify JSLH as your home. So thank you.
Thanks, Muskan. Now I would like to call upon Professor Siddhi, who teaches economics at the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. Additionally, she's also taking care of internships and the placements for the students who enroll in Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. So over to you, Professor Siddhi.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me clearly. So I don't directly look after the internships. I work very closely with the Office of Career Services, where we have a very competent team of people who basically help our students along 3 verticals really, and that's what I want to talk about today. The first is trainings and workshops. So what we do is that as soon as students come into our various undergrad programs, we sort of have an Office of Career Services orientation with them. And after that, we do an exercise of what is called interest mapping. So we get a sense of what they're interested in doing, what kind of internships they're interested in doing, what is the area that they want to pursue their higher education, and if they've already thought about it. And these interest mapping exercises we actually do fairly regularly because people's interests change. especially through, as they do different foundational courses, their interests also evolve over time. So we do these exercises quite regularly. Once the interests of students have been mapped, we take them through a series of training sessions and workshops where we sort of help them with, CV building and how to write your CV, how to present yourself in interviews of different kinds. And we actually conduct these workshops and trainings through right up till the very end. So towards the end, we do workshops like, when I say end, I mean the end of the undergrad program. So we recently conducted a program on career progressions for people who have majored in psychology, for example. And we actually take into account the needs, the very specific needs of our students before planning these workshops. So we also help our students, for example, write statement of purposes, apply for postgrad degrees, all of that. So this is the first vertical, which is basically workshops and trainings, which the Office of Career Services really helps our students with. The second is the internships. So internships are very crucial to all of our undergrad programs because, like Professor Jaini mentioned, we really believe in a pedagogy which focuses very heavily on experiential learning. So we want our students to really engage with the world and learn from that. And internships have been a very crucial part of all of our undergrad programs since the very beginning. Our students have to do 4 mandatory internships. These internships are credit bearing. And the Office of Career Services helps our students basically identify internship opportunities. And so this winter, these internships are done during the breaks, the winter breaks and the summer breaks. And this winter, Office of Career Services actually offered opportunities with 41 organizations for our students in the areas of media, advertising and marketing, counseling, education and writing, management and HR, and also community services. So that's the internships. And finally, towards the end, although many of our students actually go on to do postgraduate degrees, but some of them do also opt to enter into the job market and work for a bit. And for that, Office of Career Services actually helps students with the placement process as well. And mainly the areas in which our students find placement are consultancy, education, media and entertainment, but recently there are also firms in digital finance, sports management, and healthcare technology that our students have found placements in. So yeah, that's about the internships and the placements, and I'll be around if you have any other questions towards the end. I'll be happy to take them. Thank you.
Just to add on, please collect all your questions ready during the Q&A round where Professor Dr. Upasana Mahanta, I and the faculty will join you to help you sort your queries. So now let's put our hand together to welcome Professor Jaini Banerjee, who will be talking about the international collaborations along with our student Shreya Bedia, who has recently gone for an international tour abroad, right? So let me call upon Professor Jaini Banerjee again, once again. I would also like to thank her once again because she's filling in the gap for all the faculty who have not turned up today.
Well, not turned up, I wouldn't say that. It's just, oh, okay. Is it okay? All right. It's just that, it's that interesting time of where the semester here has not begun. And we are, Sonipat, we've made Sonipat our home, but many of us have homes in many different parts. And we are all making our way back to Sonipat at the moment. We wanted to organize this event this Saturday rather than in February because we know that all of you are going into your board exam period. So yes, so I apologize. Many of us are not here, but quite a few of us are here, and I hope we can respond to your questions. So I'll just talk very briefly about the international collaboration aspect, going over JGU websites and also JSLH. You have this is one aspect that might be attracting you to JGU, is that we have many strong international collaborations with leading universities across the world, some of the top universities across the world. But I'll just explain briefly what internationalization means in JSLH. So one is that our curriculum is internationalized. Many of our faculty members are from different parts of the world. Most of us have had some experience of studying, being trained abroad, or have academic engagements with colleagues across the world. And we hope to bring this to you in the classroom as well. So our curriculum is not just India-based, while there are lots of critical things happening around India which also our courses bring in. But this idea that we live in an interconnected world, and to understand and appreciate and critically engage with what is happening around us, you need a global perspective. So that's how our curriculum is internationalized. But there are also a few opportunities that we encourage students to take. One is our very popular semester abroad option that our student Shreya Bedia will talk to you about. Traditionally, this has been in the 5th semester. But as I said, we are at this cusp of reimagining our program a bit with the 4-year move. So you might have 1 or 2 more possibilities to go for a semester abroad to any of our partner universities across the world. And this can be in Japan, in Europe, in America, in Australia. And this is a semester-long engagement. We also, JGU and JSLH organizes what we call short-term study abroad programs. And these are curated with our partner universities. So for example, I took students to Sciences Po in Paris on this summer school on European politics, environment, and governance. We have 2 very popular ones with Oxford University. One is a PPE summer program, which is politics, philosophy, economics. And the other one, which we ran for the first time this December, is on European arts and culture and politics, also with Oxford University. But there are collaborations with Harvard University. We have a very popular one in Spain. We are looking to launch one with Sofia University and looking at Eastern Europe. And those of you, following the war in Ukraine know how critical that geopolitical area is, right? So you have all these opportunities, but I will let Shreya talk to you about how she spent her semester abroad at one of our very important partner universities, the ICLA Yamanashi in Japan. So over to you, Shreya.
Hello everyone, I'm Shreya Bedia, a 3rd-year student pursuing a self-design major in international business and psychology. I recently attended the semester exchange program at one of the international universities in Japan, International College of Liberal Arts and Humanities, wherein I pursued my 5th semester there. Hands down, Japan is one of the most beautiful countries. It has very beautiful culture and heritage. I was exposed to a variety of great culture, and I experienced workshops organized by the international university, where they taught me about Japanese language, their rituals, their philosophies, which are very famous, Ikigai, Shinto, Taoism, etc. Other than that, the curriculum there, like JSLH, was multidisciplinary. I had courses in international business, Japanese business and economy, financial technology, marketing, cyber psychology, social psychology, calligraphy. The program helped me build a global network from people around all over the world: USA, France, Europe, Denmark, Malaysia, Canada, Russia, Australia, and I built global, robust friendships with them. And we exchanged ideas which were international in classes. I also explored Japanese culture in depth. Other than that, I think the semester exchange program really helped me become independent as a person. I would have to manage my own expenses, do my own laundry, cooking, and it transformed me as a person. It made me more confident in myself, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity that JSLH had provided me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya. Indeed, you know, I think we take the word global in our word quite seriously. And like Shreya explained, encountering a different place, a different set of people, teaches us a lot of things. I'm a geographer by training, so I like visiting new places. That comes naturally to me. But I think for anyone, really, getting to know a new place, new people, just opens up your mind to many different possibilities that we often don't think about. So that's sort of the core idea behind our internationalization program. So I'll leave it there. Okay, so do we take questions?
Okay. Thank you, Professor Jenny. It was great to know about what kind of the international collaborations and the countries that we are associated with. Thanks, Shreya, for sharing in your experience. Now I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Upasana Mahanta, who is the Dean of the Admissions and the Outreach, who is going to speak about what is admissions at Jindal Global University looking like. Professor Upasana.
Thank you so much, Nishi. Can you hear me? A very, very good morning to all of you, or is it good afternoon already? I think it is good afternoon. Thank you. My apologies for being late. My daughter was doing a relay race in school, so all of you who are parents can understand how important it was for me to be there and see the relay race, and now I'm here. All my faculty colleagues have already spoken, so I wouldn't want to take much time. I just want to sort of put perhaps everything on a nutshell and particularly speak about the admissions and outreach process here at OP Jindal Global University. All of you, since you have made the effort of coming all the way here, I'm assuming you've already looked at OP Jindal Global University, you know what it represents, you've gone through what we offer in terms of programs and in terms of infrastructure. I want to talk about 5 key things which my colleagues would have already addressed, but I just want to sort of highlight it. One, of course, that makes us unique and stand out and that we are very proud of is the quality of our faculty, the curriculum and the pedagogy that is being introduced here and that is practiced on a daily basis. I heard a little bit of what Jenny was speaking, and I'm sure this has been already addressed. 2 is interdisciplinarity. And we do not pay a lip service to interdisciplinarity. It is not an idea of interdisciplinarity that, oh, we do all disciplines together, but each of the curriculum, pedagogy, all the tools employed, both inside the classroom and outside, are taught through and are truly rooted in interdisciplinarity. We, in fact, have an office dedicated, Office of Academic Planning and Coordination. What it does, and this is more for the students, that all your core courses, so when you're doing a liberal arts program, all your core courses will be planned in such a way, right, that your evenings are free from, say, around 4 p.m. onwards, if I'm not mistaken, to take electives across other schools. Right? So a liberal arts student can take an elective in a psychology school or a business school or a law school or a government and public policy school. So quality of faculty, curriculum, pedagogy, interdisciplinarity. Third is internationalization. Professor Jaini already spoke about it. You listened to our student. Internationalization is, as Jaini said, we take the global in OP Jindal Global University very, very seriously and make conscious efforts toward enabling our students to get an international exposure. It happens in 3 different ways: short-term study abroad programs, semester exchange programs, and dual degree programs. For example, the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities would give you the option on doing a dual degree, say with Rollins College. And what are the grade requirements, another thing for that, the faculty would have already addressed. So these 3 things, already have been spoken about. I want to speak about, I said 5, 2 other things. One is the larger ecosystem where the university is placed. By ecosystem, I mean that when you join a Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, you join it in the context that there are 11 other schools within which you will be placed, right? So there is a diverse student body, right? There is a diverse group of faculty. So when you do an elective, say, in the law school, you are exposed to a very different set of teaching styles, different set of context, right? Different pedagogical methods that are employed in the context of a law school elective classroom, right? So the larger ecosystem within which you are placed. Within that, what becomes also important is the support structures that we are able to create for you. One is the Center for Writing Studies, right? So there's a Center for Writing Studies that, holds regular workshops with students in writing, right? Support you in your writing assignments, okay? And overall create sort of a critical skills that are required to be able to write better and write well and write regularly. We have an Office of Disability Support, right? So students who may have any kind of challenges in terms of fully utilizing what is being offered in the context of the classroom can go to the Office of Disability Support, can talk about the challenges that you have and would be offered support. Right? In the past, we have offered support to students who had some kind of visual impairment. For example, we provided them with scribes during examination, right? So we have an Office of Disability Support. We have a Center for Mental Health and Wellness, right? Again, as I was saying, it is a larger ecosystem that we are trying to create here. It is a residential campus. So all of us are living, breathing together here in Sonipat. Right. So we want to make sure that we are able to create a healthy environment, both in terms of the sports and other facilities that are being offered, which my colleagues at the admissions team will give you a campus tour and show you, but also in terms of being able to take care of you in a very, very holistic manner. We have more than 35, if I'm not mistaken, student-run societies. So if you want to do performing arts or theater or music or dance or quiz or debate or Model United Nations, there is again an entire ecosystem of student-led and supported societies, cultural festivals, sports festivals that happen on campus in order to be able to give you a very, very holistic experience in the context of the campus. So these are the few things that you need to think about and keep in mind when you're thinking about OP Jindal Global University as an institution and JSLH as a school where you want to spend your next 4 years in. And the other aspect, and I'm apologize because I'm late, and it must have already been addressed, is the academia-industry interface that exists in the context of this ecosystem. What do I mean by the academia-industry interface? I mean that what you study in the context of the classroom, the skills that are being imparted to you, they should be something that are usable in the context of the outside world, right? It's not a set of theoretical knowledge, it is a set of praxis-based knowledge. And that is done in multiple different ways. My colleagues would have spoken about the internships that you would be required to do, right? But also in the development of the pedagogy and the curriculum itself, we have sometimes industry experts involved, right, who help us develop our curriculum and pedagogies, keeping the realities of the outer world in mind. We have an Office of Career Services, right? And there are a dedicated group of staff who would look after JSLH. Now, Office of Career Services, we do not call it a placement office, because the idea is not to be able to offer you placements, but to offer you career services. So it could be in terms of bringing in industry experts to come and talk about, you know, what is it that they're looking for, of the kind of people that they want to hire, or helping you develop your CVs, or helping you prepare for your group discussions and interviews and so on and so forth. So that's why we have an Office of Career Services that organizes multiple such events, career fairs, bringing in industry experts to the campus. So all of these things are also happening along with your courses and curriculums and the programs that are running. Now, coming specifically to the process of admissions, we have an entire team of admissions. Some of my colleagues are here. Nishi Mishra, she's heading it. Naboneta is here. Shalini is here. I can see Riti there. Shalini Sharma there. So we have a group of very, very capable people who will help and guide you through the process if you choose to apply to us. It is a completely online process, right? So when you go to our website, you would get an apply now. You go click on the apply now, which will take you to our application form. You fill up the application form, and once you completed the application process, we will ask you whether you want to schedule a JSET examination. A JSET examination is a General Scholastic Aptitude Test. Okay? It is a remotely proctored online examination. It can be taken from anywhere, from the comfort of your home. You just have to make sure that you are alone in the room, that there is no movement when the exam is happening, because it is AI proctored exam. So it will shut down if it sees movement, because it looks at that as some kind of cheating that is happening. So you just have to make sure that there is no, you're not moving around, you're not getting up when you're doing the exam. The sample question papers are available on our website. Our team will guide you towards that. Once you qualify the JSET examination, our admissions office team will get in touch with you and schedule a faculty interview, right? And once you qualify the faculty interview and the faculty gives us the feedback that they would like to see you in the classroom at JSLH, you will get a provisional letter offering you admissions at JGU. Right? It is provisional because we will have to wait till you qualify your class 12, right? Because that is your qualifying exam. We want to make sure, you know, and parents and students both may resonate with it. When we go to school, like, you know, from a very young age, we are told, okay, you know, okay, you participate in sports and you dance and you perform and you debate and you do extempore. And the moment you reach class 12, it's like if you not got 99.99%, somehow all of the things that you have done was not good enough, or somehow, you know, your value is being decided by that percentage. So Delhi University and others are going the CUET way now, and we truly appreciate the efforts being made, although it perhaps needs to be thought through a little bit more in terms of the actual execution of the exam. But we were very clear from the very beginning here at OPJGU that we want to do a holistic assessment of student. It's not going to be only based on the class 12 marks or only based on the percentage of JSAT, but therefore we have the faculty interview. When you're filling up the application, depending on the program that you're applying to, you may be asked to answer a few questions. You may be asked to write a statement of purpose. Right? So we want to be able to see whether there is a curiosity towards knowledge that we can spot in you, that you are able to think for yourself, that you are able to voice your thoughts. These are a few things that our faculty would be looking at when they're talking to you. Right? So this is the process. Once this process is done, you will get an offer of admission. We have a merit cum means scholarship policy. Now, what does it mean? It means you are evaluated on two grounds, merit and means. Means is the combined ITR of your parents or the earning member of your family or your family household would be asked to be submitted to us. All right, so means is calculated on the basis of that. Merit would be a combination of your JSET score, your class 12 marks, and most importantly, your faculty interview, right? And if you qualify on the grounds of both, depending on the score that you make, you will be offered a scholarship. Again, our admissions team will guide you through the process. So this is the admission process. You've already met the faculty, you know about the university. I want to thank you once again for taking time out on a Saturday to come all the way here and to come and listen to us and to visit the university. If you have any questions, we are happy to take them, and what a pleasure it has been. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mahanta. Now, there'll be two things. One, we'll open the room for question and answers. If anyone has any kind of questions related to anything, let it be the admissions process, let it be the curriculum or the international collaborations or the student life on campus, we will open the room for the questions and answers, which will be there only for 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. If you are not comfortable taking up the questions here in this auditorium, we are sitting in the moot court room where we can take up personal counseling sessions for these students and the parents who are there. Rest others can move for the campus tour or for the lunch, depending upon what you want to decide on. So thank you, everyone. Once again, from whole of my team and the admission staff, also the faculty, I would like to thank you for your gestures here. Thank you. Should we start the question and answers, if there are any question and answer round? Yes. Yes, sir, please. All the admissions related query would be taken up by Professor Mahanta and me, and all the questions related to curriculum and others would be taken up by the faculty.
Hi, Nishi, thanks for arranging all this. I just, hello. Yeah, so I am a product of, government education. I come from IIT, and then I have also, I'm from the founding batch of ISB, so I have seen what private education is. I just want to understand, academics is extremely important thing is rigor, I just want to understand how much focus is there on the rigor on academics actually in this particular university. I'm not getting that flavor here. I just, if someone can just give me a little flavor around that.
Okay. Quite a bit. Is this on? Is this on? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Quite a bit, actually. We have very serious curriculum reviews when the JSLH, and I'll talk principally about JSLH, but I think it applies equally across all programs in JGU. I'm not.
Somebody, can you help with the mic? Dusra de do ya, koi?
Okay. Is this better? Okay. Sorry, can you hear me at the back? Okay. So we had a curriculum review board. We periodically invite external specialists to look at our curriculum. Our classroom, if you heard me talking earlier, is a sacrosanct space for us, which is where most of the rigor, as you point out, plays out. So our faculty members are extremely committed. We place a lot of importance on classroom presence for students. So when I said that our classroom is a collaborative space, there are very few students who are able to graduate from JSLH if they are not regular. Our program seems very interactive. It might seem very You know, we place a lot of importance on that interaction, and students learn from that interaction. So our assessment is also modeled along that way. I think many of us who have gone through public education, or even at the school level now, we think that, you know, we'll study 2 months before the exam and pass. That cannot happen in JSLH, I'm afraid. Or you might just pass, but with not very good grades. So I think that is testimony to the kind of attention that students have to place on attending classes. Our students can talk more about this. So yeah, and I think your ward's interested in the BFA program. So our studio practice is actually very intensive. Our BFA faculty is on campus most days till 10 p.m. at night. I'm assuming you'll see the studio space. It's a small group of students at the moment, and that means that faculty are able to work very closely with the students. They've put together exhibitions already, and so there's a fair bit of intensive work. But we want students to enjoy the learning process. And we think that as they are enjoying, they will also learn, rather than us imposing a very rigid structure saying you have to do this. But I think, you know, maybe our students can say something about what they have learned.
Is it work? I'd firstly like to thank ma'am for answering that question, and I'm really glad that you asked this, because I think, am I audible to everyone? Do I need to use the mic, Abhi?
Yeah. You use the mic because the live people will not be able to listen to you.
So for the purpose of broadcasting this out to everyone,
Yeah.
I think the learning process is beautiful. It's not just about the rigor. There is rigor, because in the first year, I think it's an eye-opening experience for a person to step into a liberal arts education, and then we have so many subjects that we have to cover at once. And so we do have to put in the grind. The grind is assured. You will work nights and days to kind of get those answers in. And it's an open-ended questioning pattern, so there's no fixed answer. You just need to explain it well. So I think as far as setting the foundation goes, each and every subject has a common pattern that we follow. Even though the answers might differ from time to time, I think most of it remains the same. So at least for BFA first year, the foundation remains quite similar to BALH. And so in that way, I think everyone has to put in their own respective work. So professors require some sort of pre-reading to step into the class, and unless that happens, I don't think we can fully be a part of the class, and even after that the fundamentals are not very clear to us. So there's quite a lot of reading, especially in the first year. I think there are 70-80 pages for a subject, and you have to get that through, because there's no way around it, because it's literally setting the foundation of seeing light throughout the discipline. It's much more interdisciplinary in that nature, and so it becomes equally hard for us, because our mental structures are kind of fixed. You know, we want to study a particular subject, we don't want to step into 5 subjects at once, and we can't think through perspectives. And I think the reason liberal arts kind of gives this space is for you to get into that, and it becomes a very difficult thing at first, but once you settle in with that, the beauty of it is that you would want to read it by yourself. First year, you might want to, you know, just skip. But coming for the second and third year, I think it becomes much more beautiful in that sense. So the rigor's there.
Also, I would like to add that our graduates have got into the top universities across the world. And they've coped very well. Some of them, going on semester abroad or having gone on to do a master's, they've come back and said that, I'm glad we did this in JSLH. I'm glad that you insisted that the readings must be done. So, yeah, I think, I don't think you have to worry about the rigor per se.
One more, and I think that question is very lot of parents. I think what's very striking here is when you enter the bit of how much efforts college has made, while the environment may be bad, how much efforts college has made to ensure that that doesn't enter into the campus actually.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
Two things actually. I want to say a couple of things about the previous question you asked, and I think as a private university, because as Jenny said, as both of us, I studied in Delhi University, I studied in JNU, I taught in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and then I have been part of this university teaching and working here for the past more than 10 years now. So I feel that in the context of a public university, in the context, say, of a Delhi University or a JNU, rigor can be taken for granted. But that rigor does not equally apply to everybody. I think what sort of stands out in a place like JGU or some other private universities like JGU that have come up is that we cannot take rigor for granted. And we have to make sure that each and every student of ours is going through that process. It's not like 80 students have come to a class, I'm focusing on the one that want to be rigorous with me and the rest can do whatever they want. That happens in a typical public institution system. But what we have to do is that we have to make sure that each and every student is part of that rigor. And I think that's what is more significant in a context like this. That is one. Two, what has the university done? You have seen the police chowki when you walked in. So you know there are steps being taken. But I just want to say that, and to all the parents out there who are worried because, you know, your ward will be studying out of a home context, it is not unique. I'm not going to say that, oh, there is no drugs and alcohol and there is nothing bad that ever happens in this university. Like any other university, things happen. I think the reason why many of you would have heard about things happening is because action was taken. The reason why many of you have not heard in many instances, all of us have studied in different universities, because nobody cared. Whoever was, it was absolutely up to the student. Once you walk in to the campus, it is up to you how you want to take your life forward from there. So I think one of the key things that we have been able to do is to take serious action, and therefore one has heard about it. And we do not deny that there are cases of drug abuse or alcohol and others, but we have very strict systems in place to make sure that it is curbed. I cannot say it is annihilated, because I don't think we can do that. You know, you do one thing, you know, though some students who want to be engaging it will find ways of engaging with it. But you know, there are security in place. We have an office of proctor, so there is a chief proctor who is like a disciplinary head of the university, and there are warden teams across all hostels that are here that you would see, which does regular checkings, which keeps an eye on the students, and to make sure that any cases of any kinds of disciplinary violation is brought to the notice of the authorities immediately. Third, most important thing, that any student or caught or being convicted of engaging in any such activities is not eligible to apply for anything. So they don't get any awards, for best student, or they don't get to go for any of the semester exchange or study abroads or dual degree programs. You're disqualified if there is a disciplinary action being done or being pending against you. You cannot stand even to be a class representative. So you cannot even become a CR if there are disciplinary action pending against you. So there have been very many steps, but these are all punitive steps that I'm talking about. But there are also steps that are taken in terms of holding regular conversations with students, workshops, the fact that we put a lot of effort in creating a strong cultural environment in campus is so that students can be creatively engaged. We have the Center for Wellness that organizes regular sessions with students on healthy living, on being able to, come out and talk about certain challenges that you face, so that you do not take the route of alcohol or drugs. So we do a combination of both, able to create support structure mechanisms so that students are, not drawn towards such substances, and also there are punitive, sort of measures in place to be able to respond to that. So that's all I can say, sir. That is being done in the context of the university. Is there any other question? Yes, please. Yes.
You just mentioned about taking an elective when you're into liberal arts, like you could take an elective in the law school after your 4 p.m. So does that mean that the child could do a major in law? I mean, what does it mean, taking an elective in law school? What does that mean?
So our curriculum is designed in a way where you have the compulsory foundation courses, and then you have your major courses. And within the major, you have requirements as well. But you can't do a major in law. We have about 6 to 8 courses, which we call open electives, and students can design those electives in the way they want it. Some students choose to spread it. So for example, I might be studying history, for example, but I also have an interest in psychology. I might take some electives from the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences. I might want to apply it in law and take a few law courses. I might have an interest in international affairs, and I might take some from that school. Or I might choose to take all the 6 or 8 courses from one particular discipline. So the university degree doesn't recognize that like as a category, but as you might be aware that when students apply, let's say if they want to go in for graduate studies later on, or even if they're applying for jobs later on, you will not look at the title of the degree, but you look at the entire transcript as a whole and see what courses appear. So if someone has taken quite a few law-based courses, the transcript very easily shows that the student has an interest in law, and in whatever interview they are called for, they'll most possibly be asked about it.
Hello. Yeah, thanks, ma'am, for the wonderful session. So I'm covering up for my daughter Khyati. I'm not sure I'm at wrong place at a wrong time, but she has cleared BA Honors Psychology. So she has been offered a place in that school. I was just wondering if in liberal arts also, so after first year she can go for psychology as a major. So what difference does it make if she opts for liberal arts and goes for a psychology as a major, or a full-time psychology BA honors course? If it is possible to change from that to this, or would you recommend that whatever she has got, she should go for that? I'm still confused, or possibly she also is. So this is a question I just want you to address.
So psychology is an interesting discipline. We do offer a major in psychology. It's our biggest, it's our most popular major along with international business. So the psychology school came up much after us. And this is, when someone is joining a liberal arts school or a liberal arts program, it's this commitment to really a broad-based interdisciplinary training. And it also depends on what the student wants to do later on. So someone with very wanting to do something unique or a bit different with psychology might benefit more from a liberal arts training than going into a full psychology psychology degree. So I'll give you an example. If someone wants to be a counselor, for example, then for that person, it is perhaps better to go in for a BA or a BSc in psychology and then go into that line. But for someone who's, let's say, interested in art therapy and wants to include that in the counseling, then a liberal arts program might be more suited, where a student brings in all these different elements. Or we've had students who are interested at the intersection of psychology and economics, for example, who's interested in behavioral economics. Then again, a liberal arts degree trains the student to, combine these different interests. So when we interview students who are interested in psychology, for example, or any other majors, we ask them why they are interested in a liberal arts degree, because it does require a certain commitment from the student to, explore this range that's on offer.
So my question was, so is it possible now to change over from BA honors psychology, which have been offered, to a liberal arts schools?
I
or the other way
guess
around?
that is. You'll have to reach
I will
out
take
to
this
the
question,
admissions.
sir.
Sure, ma'am.
So my name is Nishi. I head the admissions for the Liberal Arts School. A student can apply to the multiple programs at Jindal, no matter what, depending upon what their interests are. She can still change her application or her offer from BA Psychology or BA Economics or whatsoever program that she has enrolled to BA Liberal Arts and Humanities. However, she has to undergo the faculty interview process. As said, liberal arts is a very unique and creative program, right? We need to interact with each one of these students before we take them into the academic curriculum. So she can very well do that, but she has to fill in the application, write a personal statement. There are 5 supplemental questions, which are very creative and quirky questions, which she has to answer. Post that, she will have an interaction with me and then with the faculty. The faculty decides what is the inclination looking like, whether she is more oriented towards a standalone program or she's more diverted towards a liberal arts program and she's ready to expand her areas of orientation. And then we decide that the student comes into the liberal arts program or not. I would suggest let her have an interaction with me and then she can start her application and we can go through the process.
All right, so I'll speak to you offline. I think
Yes.
we can decide on that, yeah.
Yes.
You wanted me to speak to the faculty and explore that side, also. So I'm glad that you can have this switch around. So we'll speak to you offline, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Many times we have students who come into liberal arts saying, oh, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, so I chose liberal arts, which sounds negative in a way, but it actually works well for us. We want students to come to our program not with a closed mind. Yes. Yeah, it is confusing, and it is very difficult to make a choice at 18. I always knew that I wanted to study geography, so it wasn't a problem for me, but I'm sure that it is a problem for many. And I think to have that open attitude is a must in liberal arts. So that's what we really look for.
And I think adding on to this, I'll share my personal experience. I am coming from a family of doctors, right? Everyone is a doctor. My dad retired from Indian Air Force being a pathologist. And then it was a lot of pressure on me to become a doctor. The moment I explained to my parents that, look, after my graduation of doing biotechnology, this is not I can do. I want to do something related to management studies. The whole family was shocked. There were 4 round table conferences in the family why you don't want to become a doctor. So I think the kind of the exploration that you get at the liberal arts school, I did my graduation in biotechnology all throughout science student, then I did my master's in MBA, international business. The moment I told my parents that I don't want to do anything in human resource management, want to go for marketing, my parents were shocked. Everyone in my family was shocked because it was entirely different from what people have thought about. But I think this exploration, if you see the Education World Report, which has recently been drafted on the careers with the skill, you will find that after every 10 years, there is a change in the kind of the career that you choose for yourself. And liberal arts fits in that very well because it enhances the kind of the skills that you require for those careers which are there for the next 10 years. Professor Jenny will
Yes,
talk more about
this is a new major, as I mentioned, located at the intersection of technology and the humanities. We are still giving it some shape, but we have two people amongst our faculty who have trained in digital humanities at the moment. And it's a very broad field. It's an interdisciplinary field that brings in the humanities subjects, so history, art, literature, etc., but also helps them explore what technology can bring or how you can use technology to disseminate ideas. So I give this example of, let's say, an online museum. So let's say a history graduate, if they have an interest in the digital, might see how the knowledge about history can be disseminated across different platforms. But it's much more than content writing. It's also about exploring how technology, how we use the space provided to us by technology to study many of these areas. So it's an evolving, it's an emerging area. We felt that many of our students have an interest in this, and much more so than, let's say, studying just literature or just history. They want to engage in these in the field of digital humanities. So many go into, edutech is an emerging area that can be an area where this knowledge can be applied. It can also take you down further, more academic paths and working on big research projects that bring in the digital into humanities.
Yes, we do. We do help them out. So we help them out with the process of application. We help them identify institutions as well that they would like to apply to. And this is something that we do. We customize the experience depending on what kind of, because since it's such a broad program with students majoring in a variety of areas, so routinely we keep an eye out for what students are interested in, and depending on their needs, we also really help them with the process of writing their statements of purposes and everything as well. So we help them with that.
And in JSLH, students work with a mentor. So the mentor is a very important person that students talk to about choices of universities. So a student would have to come with some groundwork and say, this is what I want to do, what do you think? If I'm unable to respond to a very specific area, for example, it's not in my area of expertise, I would guide the student to someone who would be able to, suggest universities, etc. So, and the university also organizes graduate fairs, so they call it international education fairs, where they invite most of the embassies and the education sector to come to the university, where students can meet the representatives and find out more about opportunities.
So our students, we actually invite experts also who can help our students in this process. So we put the students in touch with the experts.
For economics honors course in your university, but at that time it was a 3.5 year course, 3 years course, and now it is 4 year, ma'am. So I want to know that after the implementation of new education policy, whether you will be giving options of multiple entry and exit in your university also or not.
Yes, so all undergraduate programs in JGU are moving to a 4-year model.
Yes, ma'am.
So according to the rules, we can offer a BA honors or a BSc honors after completion of 4 years, but the students have the option to exit in year 3.
But they will not.
Simple BA degree.
Yeah.
That I know, madam.
Yes,
That I know.
yes, yes.
So any other question do we have? Shall we push for the campus tour? Okay.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I am there in my office. If anybody wants to know more about the program, I'll be happy to take up your questions on a personal basis.
And
Thank
please feel free to email us. Our email addresses are there on the website. If you have specific questions about the program, I'll be more than happy to respond.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking out time.
I just completed my 2-year alumni for ISB.
Okay.
So it takes time for an institute to mature, and you could feel that and I think ISB was the first one to attempt this in this country, and then Ashoka followed, and